was great because he had a new trophy wife now, and a new baby coming. He was like 55, trophy wife literally. His other kids were grown and married, and yeah, tacky. Phil Quigley. I wonder what he's doing these days. So he sold us out, and we got sold to Texas, SBC. We immediately determined that my job that I designed, I developed, I created, and was going to Texas. I had made the job, I had done so well in making my job, at that time the computer, the internet, the web was starting. So one of my ideas was to get it up onto the internet. So basically, once I did that, I basically took myself out of my own job. But I was really struggling to work then. I was spending more time working at home because I could sleep between phone calls. I would just literally pass out.
Do you still have fibromyalgia?
Yes, it never goes away. Yeah. It's just, if I don't have stress, I don't have it as bad.
Oh.
But stress is a major factor. And they never knew what caused fibromyalgia. One of the things they still talk about is some form of trauma. When I think mine started was when my mother was killed on her 60th birthday in a car accident by a drunk driver. So that could have been because up until that point I was a pretty healthy, normal person, and her death.
What year was that?
1982. 2 weeks after my 30th birthday, her and I were going to be signing. I was buying the townhouse, and I was going to put her on title. My mom, back in the day, wasn't allowed to be on title when my dad bought our house back in the 50s. And I knew that meant a lot to her, and she was, 60. She was looking at retirement coming up, and yet she was so vital. She was the manager of the fine jewelry department at a Mervyn's department store. This a woman who was just a seamstress. So she was the manager and had like 6 women that worked under her. Yeah. She was fantastic. And then she'd be on her feet all day, come home, have a light meal with her feet up, get dressed in a ball gown, and go ballroom dancing at night. What a hoot. I mean, she just was so vibrant and so full of life. And not just maybe, well, if she wore heels, she was definitely 5 feet tall. She was just a pretty petite woman. She was just, bundle. When I was 10, I passed her up in height, and it was just, I'd put my arm on her. Hi, Mom, how are you down there? What's it like? And she'd hate that. But we were tight. What happened when those two split up brought her and I closer together? Because I saw my dad as the real jerk he was. I didn't know a lot of things, but I knew then that was not the type of man that, and ironically, that was the man I had put on a pedestal for a lot of years. And so when they went through their little routine in my senior year, he fell off my pedestal fast. I couldn't respect a man like that thought women were nothing more than a piece of meat. I mean, he's nothing better than the men that are being caught now. He literally thought women were just for his use.
Yeah.
And what's weird is he had 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And he didn't think that kind of an atmosphere would impact us.
You said you dealt with childhood assault. Was that within the family?
Yeah. I blocked it out. I didn't realize what it was until I think it was my last concussion, my last accident, which is 2008. That was my last head concussion, my 9th one. Something jarred loose on that one, and I started having weird, I'll call them nightmares, because it was a monster coming into my bedroom. I was trying to play dead, trying not to breathe so this monster would leave. And I happened to be talking to, I was talking a lot to my great Aunt Rose, who kind of like was my mom's other mom. And since my great Aunt Rose and I had become close, since my mom had died, so her and I were always talking, and I shared with her these weird dreams I was having, and she said, well, you're old enough. And I said, I'm old enough for what? To know the family history. And I said, this doesn't sound good. She said, no, it's not. And basically she told me that everything, I heard more stories about the horrors of my father. Yeah, that was the monster that came into my room. It was my dad. I still don't remember most of it. What I do remember disgusts me. I now know why I think I know why my sister, she was getting my dad's attention, and then I came along, and my sister was always a very reserved person, very just shy and reserved, smart as a whip, but shy and reserved. And I was the gregarious, I was a tomboy, outdoors, play with the boys, trucks, bikes, didn't want dolls. I wanted to play with the boys, let's go play, sports, everything, you name it, I did it. But I was like my dad's son, except for those little visits, which I did not remember. I'm kind of glad that I don't remember them.
Were you really little? Did your Aunt Rose know?
Yeah, she knew it was going on. My dad had screwed every woman in the family.
What do you mean?
He had gone after like my mother's cousins, a couple of cousins who were gorgeous and beautiful. So he dabbled in other family relatives, plus any other neighbors. If it had a skirt, my dad got it. That brain did not tell that brain to stop. And so he loved what he could get. He was the Roger Ailes without the pocketbook.
Well, it's worse than Roger Ailes. It's his children.
Yeah. Was
it your sister too?
Apparently she must have been before me, but then I was, the gregarious. When my aunt told me this one time, when your sister came into a room filled with a bunch of family members, she would walk in and go, hello, hello, hello. Then you would push past her and go run up to everybody and hug them and go, hi, Aunt, or hi, Uncle. Or she says, you were just and your sister just fell back into that, and hid further. You were just too much. You were just, she says, you were so open and loving, and people just, you were there. And, she didn't like that.
So you think your dad started abusing you?
Yeah, because he did.
And in a weird way, your sister was jealous?
Well, yeah, because
kids don't know.
That all the attention went off of her.
Yeah.
It was, no, I don't wish either one of us would have had his attention in that manner, and when we did talk, when I met her when I died, and we talked,